Why, hello there, everybody. We're looking at the arena setup that I'm using as I'm going for top 50 this week. So this is the setup that I am primarily using. This is a fire evasion setup. And the idea here is that Sorrow's going to go to Mont and give him a buff. Yuffie's also going to go to Mont and give him a buff, who will then Keenblade the whole team. Sorrow will go next and he'll buff Yuffie's evasion, which is something she'll need, and Yuffie will run forward and use her, avoid sure hit ability, the Brumal form, and Mont just kind of follows that up with some hate generation and maybe CT up if he has time, but generally not. And otherwise, like, this is just how we're built out. Like that order is the agility that we've built for. Otherwise, we're built for almost max evasion, except I'm not using the Shiva card. I'm instead using the King of Lions card for some more HP and other stuff for Mont to be a little bit more survivable. And the Espers are all pretty self-explanatory here. Demon Wall is specifically for slash resist and dark resistance for Mont. And we can also look at the equipment. It's again fairly standard. The black garb, because it has the dark attack resistance up and the defense penetration rate, I thought that was pretty great. And considering that his sword gives him slash attack and then the slash piercing rate, so really it kind of rounds that out and gives him the most possible that he can get. It's not that far off. I mean, if you look at it compared to the Mean Dini's ribbon, he actually gets more evasion from the black garb. He misses out on the resistances and also the Man Eater up 5. So that's something to keep in mind. Or sorry, Man Eater, man resistance, but that's 5 compared to 10 dark resistance. So it's actually better to have the dark garb. To be honest, when I come up against a top tier team, if Sorrow gets caught in Octaslash, he dies. It's something that I haven't, been able to figure out. If I go against a different team that's maybe not as powerful, or they haven't built their Sephiroth as DPS wise, then he'll survive and that's okay. But for the most part, he's dying to that. So the idea is that because he's buffing twice with team buffs, he's going to be the last to get up there, and he can just start slinging spears and maybe following up with a limit burst. The downside is you don't get his barrier break as often with this setup, but it's better that he's alive for the most part. So that's, kind of where we're coming from. The other setup that I'm kind of dabbling in with is an anti-fire setup. And so the idea here is that King Mont has a lot of accuracy, but he also has 35% fire resistance. I could get that higher by putting like a water Esper on him. We could do something maybe with Hio's TMR to get more fire resistance, but he also has his own elemental resistance buff, which we can actually turn on for this. That's Mercy's Grace. Otherwise, everyone else is the same. Really, the only difference here from the other composition is that I've traded to have some accuracy in the main slot. And this is kind of nice. It gives us some crit rate, but we have the 25% accuracy there. We have a Alex ring on King Mont, which also gives him 5% more resistance to fire, and the Titan, which also gives him more accuracy. Now, I'm actually looking at this and thinking to myself, it gives some spirit as well, which is kind of nice, but another really good option for him would just be Odin, so that he gets a lot more agility, 5 more agility. I'm still messing around with this. There's definitely different ways to build this out, but I think it's pretty good. We don't sacrifice that much actual evasion here. The only thing that we sacrifice is the Dark Ifrit being in the main slot. It gets relegated to the sub slot again, so we can get that Blades of Grass into a main slot for maximum accuracy. So if you're newer to the game and you kind of wonder how Arena works, well, basically, if you actually want to climb it seriously, you're going to need bonus units and you're going to need bonus vision cards. So I have both of those things right now, and you're also going to have to reset and actually play a lot of Arena. So right now, there's these items that you can use, these orbs, to give yourself 5 more Arena matches. So we get 3 of those per day that we can use. I use all 3 every single day, and I usually buy 150 Visior reset for another 5 matches. And if you actually look at how much Visior you would gain if you were to actually get really far in Arena, well, you would actually get all of that Visior back and more. So like if I stay in the top 50, I could hypothetically use quite a few refreshes and I won't have lost Visior that I've spent because I'm just gaining more in the weekly prize. So tonight, for example, on a Sunday when the season's going to end or the week's going to end, there's going to be a lot of people that are making a last minute push to try to get into those top 100, top 50, etc., these brackets, so that they can get more rewards. And so I'm going to probably have to use a lot more refreshes today in order to actually make it and stay in the top 50. The other thing, when you get up this high in arena, you'll see people actually have high rates in the top right of their card, and I can take on these opponents to get a lot of points, get a very high streak, and climb a lot faster. That's going to be really important. What you're looking to do is find a team that you can reliably beat up on and then play them as many times as you can. Eventually you're going to pass them in rank and their rate will be really low. You'll have to find a new target that you can reliably beat and just beat the crap out of them over and over and over until you climb even higher. And at the same time, you hopefully have a team that is going to take on people and on defense so that you're not getting beat easily. Maybe you're breaking people's streaks. It's kind of tough because whatever team you use on offense is the last, whatever last team you've just used on offense is going to be your defense team. So it's kind of difficult to set up a defense. You just have to hope that your offense doesn't get countered too hard. So I found a team here, rank 45. We got the full rate. I think this is a team that we'll be able to beat. They don't look like they have too much accuracy on them. So hopefully we can beat this team, and we'll just do that a few times. All right, the battle has started and we've got our evasion skills buff coming for the first two units here. Yuffie gonna follow up with her Wutai dash. Now we got a lot of agility going on, but more importantly, we've all stacked up for the Keen Blade buff. So we'll see King Mont will go, and I don't think we're actually going to lap anybody on this, but we are going to move to the front of the queue, and the further we get up, the quicker we take our turns, the quicker we're going to take them again. So King Mont gets up here, he's going to get some separation. Now you could put Shukuchi on him if you wanted even more separation, but look at this. Sorrow's all the way on the other side, and these two units, Brimble Form, are going to be way ahead of him. So hopefully that means that since Sephiroth's all the way on the right side, for their right, I guess, on the left side for me, it means that he's not going to possibly Octaslash our Sorrow, although King Mont did just come back across the middle, and that's always a bummer to see. So we see this team, they're running Haste, they're running Quicken. This is a dangerous composition if they are able to get really close to us and suddenly just totally bomb us with AoE attacks. Hopefully, though, we're going to be able to disrupt it because Yuffie is going to get ahead here, and that's 2 evasions, which means we get some defense penetration / attack penetration and some CT up, and we get a chance here to actually get in and break that one-hit barrier, remove the haste, and there's a Quicken. Okay, so Sephiroth's going to get the Quicken, and the question is how many people can he actually catch here? Because if he gets everybody, he does not, we're going to be in trouble. Now, Mont is not going to be able to heal very much. It puts us in a worse position, but what's important is that our DPS is still looking really good. And there's the claws of the Lion King. So that, the Lion King, the young lion, I always do that, which is really great because it really empowers our damage. And now Sephiroth did have his barrier up there, but now when Sorrow comes in, he's hitting for damage cap, 1500 damage, 15,000 damage, because there's literally no barrier on Sephiroth, but also there's no way that he can stand up with probably a negative slash resist and a chain that's already been built up on him by Yuffie. So at this point, we're just going to throw a spear, end the match, and now we're going to run this back a bunch of times. So we can see I got to rank 51. Let's see how many times I can play him before I can pick a new opponent. All right, so we're back. I played that team a few times, and then all of a sudden, after 3 wins, I got a loss. And you're probably thinking, well, we watched that match. I was always winning. How did that happen? We can't really say for sure because I am using the skip button. I'm not going to watch when you're climbing this much. You're not going to watch every single match. But what's probably happening there is a couple of unlucky reflexes. It does happen. When you do lose, though, I do suggest that you watch the next match. You have to make sure it's not something that's going to happen repeatedly, or you have to pick a new target, which is what I ended up doing. So I looked at this list of targets. I looked at Goat King here, and I thought to myself, nope, look at this. This is such an accurate team. We've got Alex rings on both Stern and Sephiroth, and then we have a Lucia who's got 100% hits. But then we also have Sephiroth with Yurma's TMR, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically a 3-turn buff here, Blood Boil, that significantly raises your attack and your accuracy rate. That is a very anti-evasion TMR, very good TMR for people wanting to attack those evade units. So not attacking him. What I did end up doing is attacking Jenny Kim, only a couple of 100% hits, but low accuracy otherwise. So now I have to restore. This is what I was talking about earlier. There's these orbs, which you get over time from playing the game, and you can use 3 of those per day, and then you can use 50 FFVIIR in order to refresh your orbs as well. So I got 5 orbs. I can get back in there. So the downside to losing to that dark team that I was playing is that I've lost my streak. So I had at that point, I think, a 20 match win streak. It was giving me more points per win so I can climb up the arena ladder. Now I have to restart that streak, and this team I've beaten quite a few times in a row now. I'm feeling pretty good about it. We might as well show so that you can see kind of how this fire evade comes up against a different element that is running in the top 50 here. So this team, I mean, I'm kind of wondering if they're built to tackle fire evade. Are they built to tackle lightning? I mean, I've been beating them, so you think with the multiple 100% hits that maybe they'd be for evade, but I actually think that with the barrier breaks they have, the varied damage that they're bringing, that they would maybe actually be set to take on some dark teams instead, and that would kind of like make sense to me. They also have the survivability as well with a few units. So we're gonna see here, we've got our usual setup. Yuffie's gonna get involved in a big way in a sec here. Maybe a blinding trinity if she can reach. Nope, we're gonna get a reaping edge, but that's fine because we killed the cloud. She has a lot of counter chance reduction, so she's not gonna be hitting too many reflexes. It's the other units that will likely be doing that. But we've got Esther now, who's got not the best accuracy, especially if you don't build for it. It's gonna hit Mont. It's gonna miss Yuffie, but we've got a bunny bolt blitz from Esther. Big damage, and then a lower slash resistance, but the heal from King Mont. The healing power down really does make a difference if you're taking on King Mont these days. So make sure you bring it. So there's the auto restore removal. And at this point, we've got our discontinuum. I thought that's what he'd use for the non-type because Esther has good resistances. And there you go. So we can go and farm this team and build up a little bit of a streak again. All right, so I played against that team a bunch of times and I climbed all the way down to rank 44, and we can see there's a whole new set of teams that I can take on here that have that 1.5 rate to actually gain more points. And we can see there's some fire teams, which is kind of a rolling the dice with evasion. There's a water team that's probably beating up on all these fire teams, and we have another dark team that is again super built for accuracy. Very, very scary stuff here. More fire teams. And then we're back to Jenny Kim again. And you can see I can still use her to climb, but the rate is not nearly as high at this point. It's dropped because our ranks are only 2 apart. So I might use her to climb to see what I can find at the top. I might switch to my anti-fire team at this point. But at this point, I'm just looking for those consistent wins so that I can climb up the ranks and stay in the top 50 for the end of the week. And again, why would you even do this? Well, there's a lot of reasons to play for Arena because you get these daily rewards of all of these medals. And again, there's good stuff in the medal shop, especially for new players. The daily rewards, of course, as well, will give you, depending on where you finished, these crafting medals. And these medals are very important for crafting the +6 versions of equipment. So you do want to be picking these up. Basically, the main thing you want to do is try to get into the top 5,000 in Arena because the jump from 2 to 5 crafting medals is very nice. So I would recommend that as a weekly goal. Like, you know, maybe you're not going to be pushing super hard this week. Try to get to top 5,000 if you can. And I do recommend that people invest in Arena because of this, but at the same time, there's going to be weeks where you don't go as hard because it's a lot of effort to be climbing, especially if you're going for top 100, top 50, or God forbid, top 10 or number 1. It's not something you can do every single week. You will burn out. So, you know, watch that carefully because there's also, again, the weekly rewards. And when we look at the top 5,000, again, it's a nice little boost from 200 to 300 up to 500 viz. That looks nice. This is something that I think that, again, people should be aiming for. Real quick, we can look at the Arena shop and see kind of what's hanging out in here. For new players, you would want to buy both of these vision cards, I think, because what they give you access to is Solidus gives you slash resistance up. You get Vow of Love will give you some hate and slash attack up. That's actually really useful for new players. Secret Orders is also a very good vision card for an MR version, and then you can buy the shards for them here as well. So new players, really great stuff here. Otherwise, really, I mean, you don't need to buy most of the stuff in here because at this point in the game, you're going to be getting it so commonly. I kind of just let it all build up. The one thing you might be interested in is the Sage Staff. Now, at the same time, I probably wouldn't invest in this unless you're playing a ton of arena because it's so expensive. This is a super long-term project for completionists and hardcore players, and if that kind of appeals to you, because remember, if you looked at the equipment guide, you need 63 recipes to make a +5, so 63 times 15,000 medals. It's going to take you a long time to do Sage Staff unless you're also playing. Actually, no, sorry, that's the only place you can get it. So if you wanted to do the same thing in the manual PvP, in the free matches, you could also get some really interesting UR equipment. But again, the investment is insane and it would take a very, very long time because you can only purchase one per day. So that's going to be it for this video. It's kind of like part showcase, part new player guide. I hope that it was useful for you. And, you know, if you have anything to add for new players about how the arena works, then please comment down below, and you can kind of share that information with new players.